Καλημέρα από το 18ο Γενικό Λύκειο Θεσσαλονίκης. Θα σας παρουσιάσουμε ένα πίνακα ζωγραφικής από το Jan van Eyck. Ελπίζω να το απολαύσετε. Επίσης, η παρουσίαση είναι στα αγγλικά, να το ξέρετε. Cracking the code of the Arnolfini marriage. There are millions of stories in the world of art, and one of them is about to follow. Sacred and stolen. For practically every piece of stolen art, the murder was committed. One of the world's most famous pictures, but glorious and mysterious as well, Van Eyck's Arnolfini marriage is a stolen painting in the National Gallery of London. The painting, bluntly put, was nicked by a Scottish soldier who fought in the Peninsular War in Spain. Before the war, it belonged to the royal Spanish family, but after it became war booty, unfortunately like many other works of art.
Be enigmatic. Let yourself remain a wonder. It is one of the most enigmatic and inscrutable paintings, and yet its undecipherable character underpins its attraction. We're able to conjure a range of narratives. We're able to conjure a range of narratives because of its uncertainty. Renaissance and later Italian painting has provided us with a vocabulary of palette, tone, iconic images, and design forms. Fortunately, technology, Photoshop, has delivered new methods for exploring these mysterious works of art, which provide us with enigmatic inspiration as well as a painter's vocabulary.
What exactly is it that Jan van Eyck has painted here? Something meaningful is in the air, but what can it be? Let's try to unravel the mystery. Round and round, let's go. There have been hundreds of attempts to interpret the painting, but this masterpiece of puzzlement has so successfully succeeded in confusing its interpreters, including us.
Or maybe, after all, there is no secret setup, no mystery, no hidden meaning whatsoever. But this is too hard to accept, as the Arnolfini marriage is packed with symbolism that you literally must be blind not to notice.
The fruit on the windowsill. Accidental? We don't think so. The fruit function as an indicator of wealth. And yes, the man in the picture is a rich merchant, and back then they could big themselves up by leaving oranges, which were expensive, scattered casually in the room. What show-offs!
However, the same fruit arranged so pointedly on the windowsill on Eyck's Madonna paintings is a deliberate reminder of the events in the Garden of Eden that led us to being thrown out of the paradise and the consequences of our inability to resist temptation.
We couldn't have it all. There is also a tree loaded with cherries outside the window. Neither this is accidental. Cherries represent what we have lost, what we could have had if we hadn't messed up in Eden's garden.
Welcome to our home. It's where lovers ride, memories are created, friends always belong, and after a river ends. This stubbornly mysterious picture fascinates us because it so cunningly involves us in the action taking place. At first glance, the mysterious couple seem to be grinning you as if you have just entered the room. They have been obviously expecting you somehow.
Stranger, or perhaps you in the mirror. At the back of the picture, the famous wall mirror so perfectly painted not only depicts the back of the couple, but two more figures entering the room. Perhaps one of them is you. The Arnolfini were a family of Italian merchants Lucca in Tuscany who settled in Bruges and traded precious materials, fabrics, silk and gold. The man in the picture, assumingly Giovanni, was conspicuously prosperous.
Fair is not fair. Their clothing was an environmental disaster, considering hundreds, if not thousands of animals, squirrels for example, used to develop their fur of their gowns. So they are all dressed up for a marriage with Van Eyck himself, and the other figure, you perhaps, as witnesses for the ceremony. This painting can be a legal document. No wonder it sports the huge rubble of the Bailey signature in the center.
Is there a baby? Is Miss Arnolfini pregnant, or is this a lovely bulge in her stomach, a way the dress was cut out, denoting a fashion statement of that time? But that's hard to buy, as no one can ignore this protective gesture of holding on to her stomach with so much affection. So she is pregnant, and this pregnancy might be the key to the picture's meaning. Pregnancy is such a critical and ubiquitous human condition that one would expect to see art packed with such images. One of these being Van Cleef's Annunciation of Pregnancy by Angel Gabriel.
What does the dog resemble? The little pooch between the couple symbolizes fidelity, dedication, or can be viewed as a token of desire, connoting the couple's longing to have a child.
The Arnolfini pregnancy
Isn't this space familiar? Isn't this bed familiar? Aren't those candles familiar? Isn't the window familiar? Isn't the moon familiar? This annunciation obviously bears a strong resemblance to the marriage of the Arnolfini marriage. It might almost be the same setup. A similar room, a similar bed, a similar atmosphere of a proclaimed baby. The warm and holy atmosphere of an impending birth. That's the atmosphere Ike is trying to plunge us into.
Pregnancy, celebrated or feared. There was a perception that the mortality rate at childbirth was much higher, so many women approached childbirth with a lot of anxiety. So, if a woman died at childbirth, the picture would be a record and the image of her would take its place in the family portrait gallery. Thus, life and death are intertwined in the pregnancy portrait of pregnant women, as well as the Arnolfini marriage. There is an assumption that the woman in the painting was portrayed posthumously her death at childbirth.
Evidence for this far-fetched assumption in details such as, behind her, over her right shoulder, you can see the back of a chair which has the image of Saint Margaret, patron of the pregnant women, praying behind the dragon. The scenes around the convex mirror are illustrations of the Passion, the living scenes on Mr. Arnolfini's side, and the dead scenes on Mrs. Arnolfini's side.
The Bride of Death. Similarly, if you look at the chandelier above, there is a contrast of the lit candle still on the left side, where Arnolfini is, and on the right his wife stands underneath a candle that's gone out. So Mrs. Arnolfini may have died in childbirth, and Mr. Arnolfini may have chosen to memorialize her in this poignant masterpiece.
We must cultivate our own garden, Voltaire. So Arnolfini presents his wife to us with a touching gesture on her hand on her belly, as if she was still alive. Why? Maybe because the painting is trying to understand both her and the baby's death in intensely religious terms by comparing their sacrifice with the ultimate sacrifice of Jesus Christ, crucified on the cross up in the mirror in the middle of the picture. So the fruit in the window reminds us of those regrettable events in Eden's garden that due to death robbed us all of eternal life.
Funky clothes and the funny shoes for wearing outdoors, it's obvious that Mrs. Arnolfini has discarded his so pointedly. He has no plans to wander further, promising his fidelity to his beloved wife and his faith. All these oodles of clever symbolism prove the genius Van Eyck was. The repressed sadness, the anger, and the haunting self-absorption, all captured in the expression of Mr. Arnolfini. And because art is too important not to share, the following paintings by our students and teachers are laid with lots of love and thankfulness to you all.
This was a presentation from the students of the 18th Senior High School of Thessaloniki, Greece.
And thank you for your attention.